All right, welcome back to Database Development Design for Raritan Valley Community College. This is our Lab 1 walkthrough. So this is the follow-up to that short SQL Select lesson I gave. I'll be walking through and showing you about how to use SQL Server and how to use the select method and some couple terms like that. So the link will be below in the description here, but that'll bring you to our, if you can't find the link, you go to my website, analyticsforall.org. You look under free courses, and if you scroll down, you will see this files for database development design. You're going to want to go down here to week 2 and download the build and then the labs. The build is get us to our tables built for us, okay? So once you've got that, let's go ahead and pop over to SQL Server, which is, here we go. Here's our SQL Server. Let me get you a better picture of it. There we go. Hold on. Let me bring that over. Got a bit of a mess here. Sorry. There we go. All right, so there's our SQL Server. We've got it set up in there. Remember, this is the main screen you get to once you log in. We go up here, you hit the new query window, you will get a new query that'll pop up, and this will be blank. The main thing to keep in mind is check this, make sure you probably are on master. Okay, so my advice always either is do the drop down to find your database or do what I did, which I wrote my own database, use DDD. If you're in my class, you're going to be using your G number will be your database. If you're just following along, you create whoever you called your database. I don't care, but just use that to get you to make sure you're lined up there. Then let's go ahead and let's open up the file. So I went and I grabbed it. Here's the file. I opened it up in Notepad. It's a pretty big file. Ignore the first part. You can get rid of that. Use GGG. Just go ahead. We're going to get everything down here, all the way down. Make sure you get down to 249. Okay. Paste this in here. So make sure, number one, everything should start with this if statement. Notice this right here, it's green. These two dashes in SQL allow you these are comment rem sections out. Another thing you can do if you want to do a group is you do a slash with an asterisk, and then you could do another asterisk slash to close it off. That'll give you multiple lines, but we won't worry about that right now. Let's go ahead and close that off. So this is just a comment, customer orders build. So again, this statement here, it's important. In fact, let me make sure we're getting across enough. Hold on. It looks like the screen. Oh, sorry, it's working on multiple screens. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So this line right here, this is designed so that if you have a table already called customer orders in there, it will drop the table. If it's not null, if there's an object that is called that is not null, we're going to drop the table. And this loads the table, and then you're going to have a second table down here. Same thing, another if statement. The great part of these if statements is that you can run this as many times as you want. If you make a mistake, just rerun it. It'll reload perfectly fine. So go up here and, sorry, screen set up again. Go to here and hit the execute button once we're in here. Once I'm in here, you see the execute button lights up. Go ahead and hit that. And you should get, see, I've got two things, 106 rows and 50 rows affected. That means I just built two tables. And if I jump to this one here, sorry, which one am I on? Jump to this one here, you'll see if I go down my DDD, you're probably not going to see them right away, but if you go here and you refresh, again, this is just a glitch of SQL Server. But I go to tables now, and as soon as it's done opening, there you go. So I have my vet visits and my customer orders. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll start. Remember, the SQL statement is we go here to new query. I'll just make a brand new query again, so nice and clean. And once you're already in a system, you should stay. So we're still in the database DDD, so we're good there. So you should be able to start with just our basic statement. If you remember, our select statement needed two things. We needed a select and a from. The from tells us what table we go to. Sometimes I just start with the from because it helps everything else. But we're just going to go ahead and look at our cust orders. And if I say from cust orders, and the semicolon, you don't need the semicolon. I'll explain later why you don't need it, but you actually don't. Ignore the fact it's fuzzy. I just put this in, and it's a Windows thing. These red lines don't really mean much half the time. So then I put the star, which will give me this will give me all my columns back, and I just execute. And you can see this comes up down here, and if I bring it up so you can see it a bit better, you can see I've got all my columns here, payment, department. Now, if I only wanted, let's say, the price and the department, now it's starting to work. Okay. Sometimes you get this autofill. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't when you first build a table. But next time you come in, it'll work fine on this table. It's a Microsoft problem. But if I just do that price and department, now if I run it again, there we go. I get them both, just those two columns. That's all I get. I can rearrange the order of my columns by saying department, comma, price. I can rename my columns so that they have a more user-friendly name. I can say department here. And now you'll watch down here. The department's going to, the name of the thing is going to change. But if you go into here and I look at my column here, my column name did not change. Okay. The column name remained the same. It's still depth. It's just, now it's just the display name looks different. Okay. You can change the column name. We'll get into that much later. But right now, this, just so you know, you're not actually changing the column name. All you're doing is changing the department. So we go back here. Let's do another star like that. Just get into it. And so that's the main concept here we're looking at. Again, this, uh, if you come from the land of Java or any programming language like C++, or where you've got to use a semicolon or your line fails, that's not the case in SQL. In fact, SQL, where you'll have an issue is if I have a second select statement down here where I said select price, go enter from custom orders. Let me go ahead and bring this down a little bit so I'm not scrunching everything up. And I scroll this back up. This is where we'll have a problem because it will have an issue not knowing. Of course, it worked, but it wouldn't run. It can't run it twice. It doesn't realize there's two separate things here. See, all you got is the one. So what you need to do generally is you put a semicolon in here. Should have thrown an error. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just something like Microsoft does. When you do that now, if I was to go and look, and let me go ahead and see if I can drag the screen for you. You can see I now have two answers. I have a price and I have just the standard answer. The semicolon allows you to run more than one command in a row. And it's especially, it becomes much more sensitive when you're starting to input and create stuff and change data. You don't need the semicolon. Another thing you can do in SQL with SQL Server is I could simply highlight only the one I want to run and execute that. And that would just completely skip the other part of the screen. Another feature you can use, which I don't recommend getting a habit of, but you can use the word go instead. But since really Microsoft the only one that uses it, I don't recommend it because when you start going to other systems, it's just going to be a bad habit you'll pick up. Okay. So the only other main one we worked on this week was order by. So if we order by, and let's say I got price as my thing already. Let's say I order by price. You'll notice now my entire thing will order by the price. Now we got the lowest price there. So by default, we come out what's called ascending, ASC, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, F, G. If we want it backwards, we just use the descending command. Okay. This is just a quick and dirty way we're walking around looking at the data. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's grab our lab now. So let's go down to our files. We'll open up our lab one. And here's how I recommend everybody do once it opens. So go ahead, grab the lab file. My advice is just, I do this because most of you are in Citrix, so you can't really open files. So it's just simple. It's easier just to copy and paste. Let's go back up. We'll create a new query window again, and we'll just paste this in here. Okay. Now, make sure you're on the right database. And here's what I do. I just go through here. And first of all, we're going to rearrange the screen so you can see it better. I will adjust this, you'll see the answers. But one thing I just do right now is I just go through and I just start putting the two tabs in the front here, just so you can see. And keep in mind, SQL doesn't really care about space. It's not like other languages where Python, where your white space actually means something. Okay. Yeah, watch this one happen. See these things can collapse on you, so just push the plus button if you start losing stuff. It's just the nature of the beast here. Okay. Here, 8 got lost in space there somehow. So, and I'll as we go down, I'll make sure to get the spaces out there. So, in this lab 1, we're going to SQL Lab customer order. We're going to use the customer order table in the database, submit queries needed to answer the following questions. So the first one out there is I'm just going to ask you to return all columns and records from the table customer orders. So you put an enter here, and now we're no longer commented out. And remember, how do we get all our columns? We use select star, and we use it from our cust order table. Okay, which is orders. I'm sorry, keep that in mind. So this is orders. This is a typo on my part. I will fix it in the file. Sorry. Okay. So we say there, select star from cust orders. You should now be able to run this, and it'll only run this right here. So there you are. So it'll only run the cust orders thing right there. But we have all our columns, cust orders. That's the simple return all columns. Okay. The second, return only order ID, cust ID, and payment columns. Well, let's take a look here. So we have an order ID, a cust ID, and payment. Those are the name of our columns. They're actually written up there. So you can just say select. Now, I want you to notice something. Again, SQL does not care about capitalization either. It is, it's agnostic to that. It's not a case-sensitive language. You can set it to be case-sensitive, but most people don't. So keep in mind, I don't have to have the pluses or minuses. The blue will tell you when you got a keyword. So again, select from cust orders, and then I just say return order ID, cust ID, and payment, and run this little section right here. And I'm hitting the execute button over on the left. You can't see it. That's what I'm doing. And now we just run the second right there. So if you had run both, if you hadn't highlighted this and tried to run them both, you would get both answers here, which is not what we want. I mean, well, it doesn't really matter, but for you, I mean, when you're doing this, when you're normally working within SQL, you're kind of looking at one thing at a time. So my personal advice is when you do this, let's just highlight the one you want to run and run that one only. So we can just look at the results, okay? All right, so there you have order ID, cust ID, and payment. Okay, now let's change the order of columns to be the following. You want it to be payment, order, cust ID. So here, I'm going to be really lazy. I'm just going to copy this entire section here. I am going to copy these. I'm going to go across and here and run this. Again, I'm hitting the execute button. You can't see it's off screen. You can also hit F5 if you want, or you can right click and execute too. Okay, another option. All right, so now you see it's the same thing. We just changed the order of the columns now. And you'll see the columns, you'll notice the column names. These are capitalized. When I did it this way, they weren't. It's because you get whatever you put in the select statement is how the end result comes out. Okay. So now alias cust ID to say customer name. Hint, this is where you want these spaces. So we're going to sit there. We're just going to take what we've already got here, copy and paste it here. And now we're going to take cust ID and we're going to alias it. We use alias it using the word as. Now watch, if I try customer ID, I'm just going to show you what happens. If I try this, I throw an error syntax and error ID. It doesn't know what ID is. So what you need to do, if you're going to have a space, either in a column name or in an alias or anything you've got, if there's a space, you have to wrap it in those quotes, okay? And there you go. Now it says customer ID, but again, we did not change the name of the column. The column is still cust ID. Okay. Now return all the columns again for cust ID, order, course orders, sorry, sort the results by tran date. Okay. So again, return all the columns. Just go back here, grab this, back to 1, go to 5, and now all we got to do is add an order by. We're sorting, so we're going to add an order by. Great thing about order by to remember, order by is always the last. It's always the last. It's always the easiest to remember. And we're going to order by our tran date. Okay. So We go here again and run this now. There it is. Now you'll see it starts in 1998 and it works its way up. Okay. So number 6, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to order it in descending order. So just copy and paste that again. And now to make it descending, we just type in DESC. Close that out and run it. And now you'll notice 2022. So we went, yeah, we're going the opposite. We're going newest to oldest. Okay. Now we're going to use our other table. So we had 2 tables, if you remember, when I gave you that setup build here. This one right here. You got your customer orders table, and now you've got our vet visit table. And this is just a table where we have vet visit IDs, pet names, breed, species, owner, and reason. Let's go ahead and take a look at it first. So first thing we do is take a look at it is we sit there and say select star from vet visit. And again, I ignore my capitalization work. I don't know why. Sometimes I capitalize things, sometimes I don't. Just a habit. And again, we're looking at vet visits. I got to fix this again, sorry. So it's vet visits. That's the table we created, vet visits. And we look down here, and again, we have ID, the pet name, the breed, the species, the owner, and the reason for the visit, okay? So there we go. There's all our columns. It's a quick way. It's a good thing to always do to look at stuff when you get in there. Now, set this so we can read this. Now, I don't think I mentioned this in this lecture yesterday, but so this is I probably should have brought it up. I'll make sure to fix it. How many records are in the table? Now let's create a query that returns the first 15 records. All right, so a very common thing. So these tables are so small. So number one, how many records are in the table? What you can do is you could count them, or you can go down here and look. You'll see it says 50 rows down here. That means this record has 50 rows. So that's how many records are in this table. So in real world tables, people have billions of records, millions of records. So what you want to make sure is sometimes when you want to just do this, a quick check, what's in the table, billions of records could take a long time to return. It could, mess up the system. So sometimes you just want to get a small amount. You want to just get a sample. So in SQL Server, which is T-SQL is the language we're using, we have an option called top. So we say top, and whatever number you put in here is how many you're going to get back. So if I say select top, then you still have to tell you want star from vet visits. Nothing's changed there. This just tells me how many records I want. So if I say 15 and I run this, I got 15 records. Okay, here. Okay, it stops at 15. If I change that to 5, if I can get my mouse over there, we'll change it to 5. There we go. Change it to 5, and now I've got 5. So that's it. Top just does that. You'll see in other places they normally use one called limit, and it sits at the end of it comes afterwards. You'll say I limit so many. SQL Server allows this version of top. Yeah, that's just one of the little weird synchronicities between SQL Server and other ones. But yes, remember for this one we wanted 15, so set 15 there, and we'll go. Now, the next step, instead of using your wildcard, pick columns of your choice. Pick 3 columns, whichever ones you want. I'm going to say select, I'm looking down the list here. I'm just going to say pet, breed, and reason. I wonder why they're here. Okay. From vet visits. And I'm just showing you this. You can do it all in one line too. I'll explain in a second why it's not a good idea, but so there we go. And that'll return our 3 columns. Me personally, I prefer this. Prefer to have them all on a list like that. And I like to keep the commas to the left because when you're looking down a list of hundreds, let me get this straightened out. If you're looking down a list of hundreds of columns like you might have in a massive SQL statement, it's really hard to see a missing comma. Keep everything to the left. This is designed for human readability. It has nothing to do with SQL Server. It doesn't care about that. You can put it all on one line. It does not care. All right. Now, the last statement is to rearrange the columns you chose in a different order and then alias at least one. So take my list I've got here. And maybe I'll put pet here. And I'll leave breed in the middle. I'll put reason in the front. We'll just change this to ailment. We'll change reason to ailment. Sounds more, I don't know, professional sounding. So anyway, we'll select that. And now you'll notice we went to ailment, pets at the end now. That's it. That's the first lab. That's the main thing we want to focus on. Main things to remember are, this is your wild card. Select gives you all the columns. From is your tables. So if you got tables over here to pick from, you got to tell it which table I'm trying to look at. That's where our from statement comes in. We can start naming columns. We can pick which columns we want, which order we want them in. We can rename them using the as, and we can order the results by using an order by. Okay, so our things we learned, and we also added top to this list. So top is the other command. So our main commands we added select and from. Remember, select filters columns, from is your table, as is your alias tool, order by orders your results, sorts your results, and top filters down. It grabs the top results. So, you can filter the number you want to get back in. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you the next class.